Well, hello there, and good morning, good afternoon, or good night, depending on what time you guys are watching. I want to welcome you guys back to the Cozy Club today as we have yet another DSA video. We are going to be continuing on with our Raid Master Titan series today with probably, arguably, one of, if not the most punishing Titan, my friends. If you're a player or in a club, you guys have probably struggled against the Ice Titan, as today we're going to be breaking down everything this behemoth of a creature does. As a kid, he was always like my favorite. I don't know why I was having a connection with the villains destroying Hercules, but I always like the Ice Titan, and he is one not to mess with within the game, guys. Very punishing and can just snap his fingers and decide that you're not going to fight against him anymore. So on today's video, guys, we're going to be breaking down everything you need to know, especially the visuals of the moves and his abilities to best understand this guy, and then also some great strategies to give you and net you the best damage possible. There are specific characters more than ever for this guy that are going to be absolutely crucial, and the way that he works is going to be important to understand. So we're going to get to all of that today. But first, Cozy Club, if you have not already, and if you haven't heard, we have created a new Instagram for the Cozy Club and for myself. I've decided I've made so many different guides, and I can do a lot more mini guides and update you guys on where I'm going and what I'm doing and things like that. And so if you have not already, we have a new Instagram you can find down in the description to kind of keep up with stuff if the YouTube videos are not enough and you can't get enough of the hype, my friends. So let's go ahead and jump into the Ice Titan guide and begin today's video. Now, Cozy Club, all of the Titans within this game have something or another that kind of amps them up and fuels them all together, and some aren't that hard to get a hang of, and some are a whole lot more tough. And I've got to tell you guys, the Ice Titan has got to be up there on the most annoying because the way that the new debuff works in prison and the way that his mechanics work. Let's go ahead and kick off with the basics of the Ice Titan for you guys to understand so that you're not too intimidated going in on your first attempt or your 20th attempt against the guy. Now, how this all works in a nutshell is through harmful effects. Now, we're going to go through all of his abilities and whatnot, but I want you guys to understand this more than anything. Harmful effects matter more than ever against this guy on your own team, and so bringing cleansers and healers is going to be at the top of your priority. If you feel like you have enough cleansing, you don't. You need to bring in some more, because the way it works is pretty simple. I'm going to break it down for you guys. If your character has itself continuous damage on him, which the Titan can inflict with pretty much all of his abilities, that is then going to turn into offense down, netting you not as much damage, pumping out of those characters. However, it gets a whole lot worse, Cozy Club, because if your character has offense down, the Ice Titan will be inflicting a new harmful effect known as Imprison. And Imprison essentially is like stasis, but you can't get rid of it, and you are not able to sit there. Doesn't matter how many trips around the sun you take. You can leave your phone on all day. Imprison is not going to go off your character. It is unremovable outside of, obviously, cleansing. And you want to make sure that the harmful effects don't stack up in the first place, which is why altogether you just want to avoid having harmful effects on your team in the first place. And is also why we recommend definitely here at the Cozy Club to have your club start out with the Lava Titan before you go to the Ice Titan under all circumstances. And that is because the Lava Titan's natural ability, for those that saw the guide, is if he's not dead, people are going to be able to place continuous damages. Those Titans can inflict it with each and every attack. This is only going to make matters way worse with you, your club, and if you went into the Ice Titan first, you're probably wondering why you got your butt handed to you. That is going to be the main reason. So we'll get to how to handle that. Let's go ahead and start off with the basics of his health. You guys can see right here in this graphic, these are going to be the different health pools for each and every tier of the Ice Titan battle. Definitely scaling up there the closer you get on to the heroic raid. Now, focusing his abilities, I'll tell you this. If you handle him properly, this guy really isn't that tough. You can lay out and dish out probably some of the most damage comparable to the other Titans. You just have to make sure you're doing it the right way. And so we're going to go ahead and start off. His basic attack is going to be Frost Breath, Cozy Club. We're going to be covering these attacks, showing you them visually and how it works. Now, first and foremost, Frost Breath, just like his entire mechanics, is going to do the same with his basic. It's going to deal continuous damage. However, if you have continuous damage, it's going to do the offense down. And then that leads into, yes, with his basic, imprisoning your characters. And if they're just healthy and they have no harmful effects, he's going to inflict that continuous damage to try to keep the train going, right? So if you have a tank, they're going to get hit with continuous damage. If they get hit again, you know the drill by now, right? So same song, same dance. That's going to be his basic attack. Now, if you're able to cleanse it off, no big deal. It's probably one of the least menacing abilities out of the whole raid if you're able to handle it. Now, moving right along to his next set of abilities. Again, this guy kind of specializes in two things: harmful effects, and then just curb stomping the living hell out of your team once he decides you're done playing. And that is done through the ice spikes, guys. Ice spikes are going to be a lot like the Tornado Titan. Let's go ahead and check it out. You're going to be able to take these ice spikes down by doing the same thing, inflicting sleep, silence, or polymorph to destroy the spikes themselves. Now, the differences between the twisters and these ice spikes are pretty massive. To make sure you don't miss this, right? The ice spikes, first and foremost, you can damage them, and they're going to keep their health. The twisters heal up every round. These ice spikes are kind of like any other character in the game. But in addition to that, they're not going to attack you. Nope. They don't care about you. The ice spikes don't need to attack you because Mr. Titan here is going to do one elbow push and end your whole team, guys. He does this massive, huge game ending. You're dead. Thanks for playing. Come back tomorrow ability that just pretty much wipes out your team. And if it doesn't, it inflicts that whole little train of continuous damage to offense down. So ice spikes, you'll want to make sure you take care of these things unless he's empowered. If he's empowered, you ignore them and you go straight for the big guy. Now, we know that these Titans have the insta deaths and they don't really matter because you won't see them all that much. So I want to move on to these two other abilities. We have Frost Storm and we have Hyperthermia. Both of these are going to be amplified via the harmful effects on the field. Ice Storm is probably the least deadly out of all of the big kahuna attacks. It deals a lot of damage. It does a lot. If you have harmful effects, it's going to deal more damage for each harmful effect, which if you're even doing this right in the first place, you should be okay with this Frost Storm coming out. Now, combine that with his passive Hyperthermia, and that's where it gets bad, right? Every time you attack this Titan in any degree with a character, you're going to be extending the harmful effects on yourselves, making it a lot harder to cleanse it and pretty much ending you. If you have, let's say, offense down, you're going to be getting stacks of this guy. So definitely Hyperthermia and Frost Storm. You just want to avoid them by not having those harmfuls on your team, which you can achieve a couple of ways, and we're going to get to that here in a moment. Now, finally, to wrap things up ability-wise, we have ourselves the passives of the Shadow of the Ice Titan, as you guys can see from the graphic. Big things to take away here, guys, is once again, anything he's attacking with a harmful effect, he's going to do big time critical damage. He has very high crit chance against harmful effects. And if he isn't dead in the raids, other Titans are going to have a better chance for critical chance hits, which is going to combine for some big damage overall, but it's not that big of a deal. You can survive that critical hits if you're managing each and every Titan correctly. Now, for each Titan that dies, he gains a lot. He gets offense, potency, and precision, making him a whole lot more deadly, but still not that tough of a fight altogether. And then, obviously, you can't do anything big with Sorcerer's Strength of the Ice Titan. So, those are his abilities. Pretty easy to wrap your head around. Let's talk about the best teams and strategies. Now, first and foremost, you got to make sure you have so many cleansers on your team. There are plenty of options for free-to-play, pay-to-play that can do AoE, flipping of harmful effects like in Miguel, Rapunzel, but you also have characters like Pocahontas that can do an AoE flip of these harmful effects on your team. You have Esmeralda, great choice to get the job done of cleansing and kind of keeping everything going. You can also have single target cleansers or spells like Blue Fairy Magic. Cleansing is the name of the game, and we have a lot of videos talking about the best cleansers. But altogether, you want to make sure at bare minimum, Cozy Club, that you have at least 2 cleansers on your team. You can have more than that. There's people that do multiple roles that can cleanse and they can damage. So finding your roster and finding what fits. But essentially, if you have yourself 1 tank, a couple cleansers, and a damage dealer, you should be good to go. you just always want to space out those cleansing abilities. And you don't want to be doing it, both at the same time. And you want to make sure that you have stacks of harmful effects rather than just a couple when you are using these cleansing abilities. Obviously, by now you guys know a lot of those cleansers, but if you don't, we'll list off some of them. King Triton, Pocahontas, Cobra Bubbles has both silence and cleansing. Many of you guys have him. The SC Merlin, this is where he shines the most, using the Use Your Head ability on himself over and over for some consistent, well-balanced cleansing. Put that up with like Hercules and you have an instantly great damage team. Genie can cleanse single target damage. Yzma, you got Kronk, you got Dr. Facilier, Rafiki, Goofy with a nice AoE cleanse, Wally with a nice AoE cleanse, and then some other characters that are a little more locked like Tiana that definitely get the job done. Now, I like Frozone as well. He can slow it down and cleanse one character with stasis, or of course Baymax that works as both a tank and a cleanser. All of these great options to keep the battle going and keep those pesky harmful effects off your team. Now, as for the ice spikes, let me briefly touch on them. The same usual suspects, Queen of Hearts, Oogie Boogie, they're going to be great because of the mass silence. However, because they keep the same health, they're not going to be a huge deal. First, they're adjacent to the Titan, right? That means that it's a kind of a triangle shape. So any adjacent hitting attacks are going to continually hit the ice spikes as you attack the Titan. My personal favorite being Elsa, kind of a hidden gem here because once she's empowered, she can do a silence on the main target and adjacents. So that effectively kills those altogether, making her very, very good against the Ice Titan himself. With that, obviously, the SCs like Sally and Merlin with Sleep get the job done pretty easily. You can like Peter Pan Shadow Merlin and just basic attack those spikes to death. They're not as big of a deal. It's more about cleansing those harmfuls and just dealing all out flat damage to the big guy. You can also manage him through magic reduction like Splash Mountain or with Barley and his magic school bus in Guinevere. Both really solid options as well. Dr. Facilier, I like what he does in this raid. He can cleanse, and when those spikes die, he also heals up the team. There's a lot of great teams specifically for this guy, but this is kind of the kitchen sink Titan. For most runs, he should be coming last, and so you should just be throwing your best teams at him, and just make sure your best teams have cleansers and healers, and you should be good to go for the most part. I like Dash extra special because obviously Dash has a nice little multi-hit to the spikes into the Titan. But also in addition, it's more character focused than team focused on this guy. Characters that can spread harmful immunity are big, and you can do that through a couple of options. First, you can do Wand, which is able to go ahead and put a harmful immunity on one of the characters on your team. Corella, if you can put it on, let's say, one of Ursula's eels, can then pick that harmful immunity and put it to the other villains on the team. You can also grant Ian harmful immunity and then have him spread it to 2 characters with durations refreshed. Hercules can take that from those characters. There's a lot of ways to spread harmful immunity, but that's going to be the easiest way to get the job done quickly. Tech characters with Baymax, they're not going to be affected. Tenacity matters the most on this guy, and the best way you can do that is through harmful immunity. I think I've been saying helpful. I'm going back and forth. It's harmful immunity that you want to make sure you get on your characters. Scrooge McDuck being a big hidden gem as well that can put this on himself and adjacent characters. So, Cozy Club, this one was pretty easy. He's not a crazy Titan to take on. Make sure you've got your tanks in the corners. Make sure you got the cleansers and the damage dealers. You should be good to go. And if you combine this with the team guide that we have to teach you each and every team to use, you are going to be set up for success. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video about the Ice Titan. Hopefully your runs go a lot better. If you have strategies we didn't mention, comment down below. And if you like today's video, don't forget to like it. It helps a lot for the YouTube algorithm. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the Cozy Club today. Until next time, my friends, you guys have a beautiful day and, stay cozy.